That, friends, that is the lovely sound of propane. I don't know if anybody followed that deal. I tell you, I feel like Brooks Hadley. I went to get my propane tank filled today. This unit, which I leave it hanging out there now because it's a whole rigmarole to put it back in there just to take it out every month or 2 months really. But I feel like Brooks Hadley from the Shawshank Redemption. The world went and got itself in a big dang hurry, Andy. I've decided not to stay. So here's the deal. I went to, if you followed my tank farm, I'm just totally haggard and I'm waiting on a shower. So I went to, I had to go through a big rigmarole to get the tank recertified. Okay, so the place where I had it recertified, I went back there today and the lady was like, she goes like, oh no, you gotta have this certified. They had fired and laid a bunch of people off. Okay, so she's like, oh no, you gotta pay the extra $25 to have the tank recertified again. Alright, so then I said, no, it's just certified here. Well, she didn't know computers, and she didn't know how to search the database. She was just saying it can't be done. And I was like, I don't want to go home and get a receipt. So anyway, the girl, they let some people go. The girl that used to work there, I'll try to make some sense in this one, make it not too long. The girl that used to work there knew so much about propane. She was like a female Hank Hill, you know. I'll tell you what, that's propane. I tell you what, butane is the bastard cousin or whatever of propane. But she was like a female Hank Hill, knew everything. This new girl obviously was of an ethnicity. She was an ethnic person who didn't belong in this area at all. And they had obviously forced the company to hire her, and her customer service skills sucked, and she didn't know what she was doing at all. And they let a perfectly good person go. You know, and hey, here's the thing on that. I think we're past the point. I do agree at one time, probably all the time, they had to force people to hire, companies to hire. I'm just so grungy, I can't stand it, I tell you. But look, everybody deserves a job and all of that. But at one time, I think they probably did have to force companies to hire people of different ethnicities. But I think we're beyond that now, and we're just screwing ourselves over by forcing companies to hire certain types of people, which is obviously what happened there. So I go home anyway. For what it's, all my vlogs are FWIW, for what it's worth, or in my humble opinion. Although I'm usually right. But anyway, you know, everybody deserves a job. So then I had to go back and look for the receipt. I found an electronic receipt, tried to email it to her. I had to call the national office to try to get in touch with the local office, to no avail. I did find an email address, sent her, and left several messages at the local office. Okay? And anyway, imagine that. For something 2 miles away, I had to like get in touch with something 1,000 miles away, you know. Well, then I didn't do that, so get in touch at all. I went back to the office. Turns out, because she didn't know what she was doing, the tank was stamped in metal irrevocably, recertified on it. Somewhere in there it says 12/12. If you look real close, it was recertified on 12/12, friends. So they were just, you know, she didn't know what she was doing. And so anyway, so then at the gas company, AmeriGas, I went there and I said, look, I left my tank, and when I went back to tell her the date of the receipt so she could look it up, didn't know how to search by my name and telephone number. And that's one of those moments when you don't go into you don't really go into the details of how many degrees you have in different things, you know. I was just like, okay, you're in power here. But I went back there, and my tank, there were service guys in the tank yard, you know, uh, willing to, not willing to do anything. Actually, they were just doodling around. And my tank was sitting there. And I said, well, would it be better for you guys now? Then he showed me where it was stamped in metal. She didn't know that. Okay. So I said, would it be better for you guys if I just went to Ace Hardware? You know, because I know how this stuff works. And he goes, oh yeah, that'd be better because they are our customers. See, they sell gas. AmeriGas sells to Ace. So the bottom line is they made a sale either way. But those guys could have given two shits. They were just messing around in the yard, you know, two workmen. And my tank was sitting there. They would have let me go a month, 6 months, a week. Doesn't matter to them. Without, you know, a product and service I need, dear friends. So, anyway. So, I went to Ace Hardware to get it filled. That guy there didn't know how to change the fittings to fit my tank on the people are sorry when they're getting lazy and don't care. They're just full of crap. He didn't know how to change the fittings to fill my tank, and he was trying to tell me just go away because he didn't want to turn a tap and put on a new fitting. He knew what he was doing. He just didn't want to do it. And was trying to tell me, oh, just go away. You know, oh, we can't do it here. And I go, dude, they did it here a few months ago. And there's the fitting right there. You want me to show you how to do it? Well, now, customers. I'm like, so I did walk away for a minute and just looked at him across, not leering, but just kind of like, let me smoke 100 feet away at least from the tank, from his thing. And anyway, by the time I walked back over, he was putting the fitting on because 2 or 3 people had come with tanks like mine. Anyway, the point is, how did we get to a situation in the world where people just don't care at all about what they do or take no pride in it, you know? That's Brooks Hadlin. Andy, the world's got in a big goddamn hurry. I've decided not to stay. Wouldn't blame you for shooting yourself in this damn world. But, you know, oh, Brooks hung himself. That's right. Shawshank Redemption. Brooks Hadlin, the character. All right? I'm reaching. I'm real beat. But, you know, when pride in your work and stuff, it sounds like I'm, now in my day, Henry Ford, you know, kind of thing. But it's, when I used to master records, I'm the last set of ears that it's my job to bring it up to broadcast specifications and make sure it sounds wonderful. And every job I've ever had, I was the best at it. Nobody cared, but I did a great job, you know. I guess until I learned not to at some point with some jobs, menial stuff. I don't have any answers here, or even except paying people better. Just, you know, make them proud of what they do. Pay them enough to, obviously pay them enough. And this is all stuff you guys already know who follow me. I'm just bitching about stuff at random. But paying people enough to make them care about what they do and give them insurance and long-term job security. That guy might have been proud to know every single fitting in that arsenal that he has there. But he was trying to say, go away. They all were saying today, go away. And I think it's really two things, you know. They're not being paid enough to care, although they should anyway. And it's just kind of reflective of, I'm not here to bring you down or tell you, you know, right? I'm going to teach you that the world's messed up, friends. But I take a philosophical view. I didn't even get pissed at the lady when she called me a liar, basically. The ethnic woman at the first place said it. And thank God it's stamped in metal. I wanted to go back and hold that tank in her face and, here, see, it's stamped in metal, you know. But, because she basically said, oh, well, you're a liar. You got to pay, you know. And I was like, okay, let's drop into Mr. Professional Man here. I did write a quick letter to the corporate office, which will probably go unheeded. But, you know, the thing, when I was a mastering engineer, man, and that was my main job for many years, but anything I've worked on, in music especially, I cared about every single thing, and that's why it's so time consuming, because I'm the final set of ears. Millions of people will hear this, and it's my work too. And I was getting paid handsomely. So there's your disconnect. But it's just indicative of stuff. I wonder if that pilot is being paid enough. I hear a jet. So anyway, I did have some lousy jobs. I'll be brief in this, and I worked at a pecan factory one time when I was a kid, teens, and I could run that whole factory, literally running, pushing, crushing and bagging pecans and sorting them. The boss found out I could run the whole factory by myself and do 5 tons a night. One night he challenged me to do like 10 tons of pecans. I did it. I thought it was a heroic effort, a hell of a deal. But when he came in the next day, I thought, well, he'll pin a medal on me and pay me extra. Nope, he was like, well, there'll be 10 more tons tomorrow. So for what it's worth, for what it's damn worth. But I'm not one of those people that's saying something's been lost in society, give up. I'm saying we're sort of at a point where technology and people are not really unifying properly, and things are not functioning. Probably always been this way, but in LA, I must say, I'm mainly from Los Angeles, well, for the last 30 years, but there they have all kinds of rules and strict stuff. It would have been a huge, cold, impersonal place where I took the tank in the first place, but they would have had the record, and they would have, there wouldn't have been any friendly service or anything, maybe, but there's just, when you have, just like the internet, so many people hit your webpage, same with the store in LA. When, you deal with thousands and thousands of people, they have very strict rules, not only about everything, propane or cars, whatever. So if you meet the requirements, they do, and they want to make money. These guys told me to go to Ace and have it filled. They could have given 2 shits, because they're selling to Ace. So they made a sale either way. They had and that's the other thing too. Some people are, this AmeriGas company is at the sort of the low end of wholesale. So they're in a niche where it's like there's not all that much profitability, and they're not one of the bigger companies. Nobody gives a crap. It's just a bunch of stuff. But we all seem to be in niches that allow us not to care about stuff. And people, I'm here to tell everybody there's problems with society. Restating the obvious. So for what it's worth, Andy, the world went and got itself in a big dang hurry. I've decided not to stay. Me and Brooks. I've decided not to stay, but I get to take a shower now. And see, that doesn't help when you're dirty as hell, and you're standing there all like dirty and sweaty going, "Hey lady, I'll jump in your sewer pond for $1, and then I'll leave for 25. Yeah. And I should fix those little plastic fitting on there. Well, that's kicked off. It's shower time. I just don't want to let this vlog end on 13. I'm superstitious and such. I'll put her at 14 even. There you go.